It's hard to contain your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
What? WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy. Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
Well, when you name your track Road America, it's got some big shoes to fill, and I'd say that this place has lived up to it. It's time for our latest round in the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America Yokohama GT3 Cup Series, and it has been a fascinating day with lots of action, lots of drama out there, and now we get to pick it up with some of the fastest cars that we're going to be seeing all day. I'm Joe Peak here with Ryan Marine at both a driver and fan favorite. And this series, I'd say, is among one of the most hotly contested.
Oh, certainly so. You look at the strength of these fields, and they've only gotten stronger coming into this weekend. Car counts as big as we've seen them so far this season, and a couple of interlopers joining the championship that we haven't seen so far. We'll talk about several of them as we go throughout the course of the broadcast, but Aaron Johnson is certainly one to keep an eye on. Lines up in the third spot, joining the JTR Motorsports engineering team for this weekend. Talked to the team earlier today, Joe. They said he's never been in a Porsche before. This weekend comes from single-make Mazda racing, some open-wheel racing as well. Gets the chance to jump behind the wheel, and he has been quick, and he's still learning. That's the scary thing for the opposition.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, normally we'd be able to take our time with a 4-mile lap, but we have 39 cars to go through, so why don't we get through our starting grid on this one. Jared Thomas on the pole, not much of a surprise there with Paul Bocuse next to him. They have been kind of stalwarts up on the front row. Aaron Johnson, as you just heard, has definitely made his presence known, with Ashley Freiberg rounding out that second row. And we get down to 5th and 6th, and it is Scott Blend next to Peter Atwater there on that row. From there, we get back to one of our Pro-Am drivers, Conrad Geist, starting in 7th, and David Musial 2.0 starting in the 8th position for Forward Motorsports. On row 5, it is Jens Hansen starting in 9th with Therese Lalou rounding out your top 10, Ryan.
Rob Walker will line up in that popular Herbie the Love Bug-inspired livery in the 11th spot. Joel Johnson alongside for JDX. Then it's Kyle Washington, already in action today in USA West competition, starting next to Mark Bowden. Dimitri Demekos for Honey Badger Motorsports starts 15th. Frank Vitiello in the 16th starting position. Row number 9, John Gilliland and Mark Kwame coming over and joining Porsche Sprint Challenge here this weekend. A lot more on that story with the race to end Alzheimer's livery on that car. Jody Miller and Mike Mim make up row number 10.
Then we get down to 21st with Dave Musial Sr. Patrick Woolmat's going to be starting next to him. On to 23rd position, it's Tony Melito, flanked by Eric Lapp in the number 297 JDX racing car. Row 13 sees Niels Meissner, a little bit farther down than we're used to. 26 is the car of Charlie Peter in the 166. Shane Leathers will start from 27th, and Alessandro Chiacchetti in 28th. Gregory Shermer will start in 29th. Grady Willingham in 30th. We'll go through the rest here. John McInnes 31st, and Daniel Ammon in 32nd. Then it's Joey Bowden in 33rd, followed by Thomas Herb in 34th. 35th goes to the driver Nicholas Groombridge, with John Manship in 36. On to row 19, Charles S. Craigs, 37th. John Snyder in 38th. 39th goes to Francisco de Jesus. The rest of the drivers, unfortunately, not going to be starting this race due to damage earlier in the week. Just in time, we have the cars lined up and ready to go. Beautiful rows down that front straight, waiting for the call from the flag stand as they approach the start-finish line. And there it is. Green flag is out. Thomas immediately moves in front of Bocuse, but he did not run away as quickly as I think he would have liked, trying to pull the slipstream. Paul is going to try and force him to have to take that defensive line down into turn 1. Is behind them. They battle for third, and look at the sea of cars.
They come flying into turn number 1, 2 abreast, pretty deep throughout this field. Great battles all throughout the pack. Johnson coming under pressure. That's for the 3rd spot. He's in the bright orange machine. It's Ashley Freiberg who's trying to find a way by. 2 and 3 wide further back in the pack there in turn number 3, but they're able to sort it out as the field roars down to turn 5.
Those are the first 2 danger zones through 1 and 3, but now into 5. What's going to happen as they get the tires up to temperature, the brakes up to temperature, as they slam on the binders down into there, a little bit more side by side. I think Walker in amongst those drivers. Scott Blend as well, going for maybe 2 positions here as they come up under the Corvette bridge and into 6.
Scott Blend's been super quick all throughout the weekend, but he briefly lost the top spot there to Atwater. We'll have to let that sort itself out. Looked like Conrad Geis might have been in the midst of a battle as well. This is the run-through Hurry Downs into this tight left-hander at the bottom of the hill. Really difficult corner here that leads to the right-hander of the carousel. Good battles all throughout this field, but it's still Jared Thomas showing the way.
Almost another 3-wide situation coming into the carousel, but they'll get that one sorted out. And now they come through the kink. We have had problems on the first lap here before. Let's cross our fingers that everybody stays onto the track, not seeing any dust as we watch from the trackside cameras. And now we've already hit Canada corner.
So far, so good. Jared Thomas coming under heaps of pressure, though. Paul Bocuse right on his gearbox as they head through Canada corner for the first time at speed. Paul, the rookie, but the reigning Cayman champion from a year ago, looking for his first win in the 911 Cup cars. He's right there, putting pressure on the points leader and race leader, Jared Thomas. We go on board here, battle farther back in the pack.
Yeah, that is the 201 that we're watching here. Just got overtaken by another car out of Canada corner, which is interesting. Not common that you see passes going towards Bill Mitchell-Benz. So someone making a nice little sneaky move to finish up the first lap. And the thing that impresses me is we didn't have any accidents, and it wasn't because everybody just timidly tiptoed their way around. That was fierce.
On board here with Grady Willingham, that was Eric Lapp making the pass. Lapp's got some work to do, being one of the Pro-Am runners, but starting deep down in the pack. He's already fought his way up to 25th overall, but he's got a long way to go to get to the rest of the runners within his class. It's Thomas, Bocuse, Johnson, Freiberg, the top 4. Then the leader in the Masters class, that's Atwater. And Scott Blend, the pole sitter, the winner of the last couple, has dropped back. We do have a car off, as we can see here. This is at the exit of Canada corner in the run-up to turn 13.
Shane Leathers and Charlie Peters seem to be stopped out there, so not sure what happened, but 2 cars to me implies that maybe there was a little bit of contact, and now they have the full course caution thrown, so they're going to slow it down before they get back to the scene of that accident. And hopefully we can try and figure out what exactly caused this here. There we go. There's the other car that we were talking about. And I see some tire marks leading up to that car in a bit of a half circle, but that looks more like he was trying to get started.
Agreed. Charlie Peter, a race winner on 3 occasions in the 991 class earlier this season. Haven't seen him since the last rounded Circuit of the Americas, so he missed VIR, missed Watkins Glen. Unfortunate result for him. And as for Shane Leathers, 7th in points coming into the weekend racing in the 992 Pro-Am class. Best finish thus far this season, 4th in the last race he ran. That was race 2 at Watkins Glen.
Well, now that things kind of ease up and after what was a frantic start, we've got an opportunity to chat with our good friend Phil Frangs, who is part of the Race to End Alzheimer's crew. Welcome up to the booth. And
thank you. It's exciting to be here. I mean, this is a great spot to watch the race. I've never been so lucky.
Well, I mean, yeah, you've got a lot of stuff at your fingertips here to try and keep tabs on everything. But, I mean, other than watching the entire field, what about your car out there? What are your thoughts seeing them get in the mix?
Well, we're running the number 243. Mark Kwame is our driver. He's the team principal at MDK, and we've come over to run the rest of the series this year. And so we're excited to be here. We had an opportunity to run a couple of races last race season, and so we'll be with you guys all the way through the end, including at COTA in the challenge, endurance challenge, which we're looking forward to.
Oh, that'll be awesome. And for those wondering, Kwame currently running 17th overall, still out there on track. Talk to us a little bit about the race to end Alzheimer's. So what's kind of the mission of this organization?
Sure. So Racing to End Alzheimer's is a foundation that I started. The inspiration was my wife, who unfortunately is going through her final journey through Alzheimer's. She's in year 11. And because of that, I thought that we could sort of disrupt racing a little bit and take company names off the side of a car and put the names of real people. And so our car is covered with 160 names at this point of the season. These are people's loved ones who have been affected by Alzheimer's. Some have already passed on, and some are in the middle of their fight against this horrible disease. Anyway, it's a great way for people to express their love and respect and honor somebody that's in their life that's been affected by this. So we cover the car with the name and hometown of these people, and we're delighted to do it, and we're always happy to see. I had a fellow from Houston who came up, and he wanted to show his buddy his father's name on the car, and they get a little glassy-eyed when they get a chance to look at it. And so I think we do good things when we get a chance to do that.
Where did the names come from? Where are you drawing these from?
Well, we're heavy on social media. We've got 30,000+ followers on Facebook, and so we post on a regular basis, not only about racing, but Alzheimer's in general, about caregiving, about research and things. So that's a Facebook and Instagram page, and again, it's Racing to End Alzheimer's, so you can find it there. And at the track, we get a chance to interact with people at the track. It's an opportunity for us to activate fans into this program, and so it's a great opportunity, and it's good for me because I get to talk to a lot of people, and it's better than simply watching my wife go through this. It's better to have a purpose, and so I'm happy to have that.
And it's a cause that hits home within the team as well. So many people have been touched by this dreaded disease, and that's certainly true, unfortunately, within the MDK team
absolutely.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Jan Magnuson is one of our executives, longtime racer, father of Kevin Magnuson of F1 days, and so Jan's father's name is on the car, and Kevin's grandfather, of course, and he's living with Alzheimer's back in Denmark, and so we're proud to have his name on the car. Mark Kwame's grandfather went through Alzheimer's and has passed on, and he remembers that and vividly, and so he's a big supporter of our activity. Of course, my wife's name is on the car, and we have there's other team members that have loved ones' names on the car, and just people, just regular people, people here at the track, people that reach out to us through social media, or they go to our website, and so we're pretty fortunate to have all the support that we have, and the generosity of these racing fans is awesome.
Have you noticed that there's been almost a sense of community built because of this? Because I have to imagine this networks a lot of people that could use that sort of emotional support.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, just to tell you a story, we ran in the 8-hour SRO race at Indianapolis 3 seasons ago, and at that race, virtually every team that was in that race had a Racing to End Alzheimer's badge on their car. So there was solidarity within the paddock, and when we talk to people, it's 6 or 7 out of 10 people that you will talk to have somebody in their life, family member, friend, neighbor, that's been affected. This is a pervasive disease, and it's ever growing within our community. So, the racing community is family, and it's always great to be here.
Where does the race to end Alzheimer's stand? How much progress has been made in that battle in the time that you've been pursuing this mission?
Well, I see more and more. The last 2 years has been a lot of activity with new drugs, testing. You know, there are blood tests that can now help identify people that may have Alzheimer's in their future, which allows some of these drugs that are early onset type of drugs to delay the cognitive decline. And so there's a lot going on from that standpoint, and so it's great. We have one of our two major beneficiaries is the Nance National Alzheimer's Center. It's at Houston Methodist Hospital, and the name is familiar. CBS sportscaster Jim Nance's father suffered from Alzheimer's, was treated at Houston Methodist, and after his father passed away, Jim and members of his family decided they wanted to be in the game, so they helped found and fund that organization, and so they're one of our beneficiaries. And I've gotten to know Dr. Mazdo, Joe Mazdo, who is their medical director, and I get a chance to visit him every year, and he brings me information about what's going on. And the big thing is the earlier you can find out about this going on with your loved one, the sooner that they get a chance to work on trying to ease their difficulty and make their life better and the life of the caregiving community. I mean, this is a disease that doesn't attack an individual, it attacks your whole family. So, being able to support that is important. Our other beneficiary is the UCLA Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Program, which is in Los Angeles, and they're wonderful. They provide social and psychological help to the family who has among them somebody being affected by this disease.
Well, we can't thank you enough for all the efforts that everybody involved has been putting towards to such a wonderful cause. And obviously with Kwame out here today racing, have you had anything happen where some people you've seen interest starting to develop here this weekend because of it?
Well, it was great. We had a couple people come by. This is not as this particular weekend doesn't have the same fan base that some of the other events that we participate in. Sorry. I'm not used to wearing a microphone.
It's all good.
But yes, we've had several people come by. We're looking forward to tomorrow. We have two races tomorrow. We have the Sprint Challenge race, and we have the Endurance Challenge. And so I'm sure we'll see some more people tomorrow.
Certainly. And thought maybe we'd get going racing here because the lights are still on, unfortunately. But looked like the trucks were pulled away, so maybe it'll just be about one more lap. There we go. We've got just a few more, unfortunately, attending to the second car down the way, so that explains why we haven't gone quite yet.
If I could, Joe, I just had one question for Phil. Why use motorsports as the platform for this cause instead of, say, golf or baseball or something not even athletically inclined? What is it about motorsports in that community that makes this the right fit?
Well, I was involved. I've been sponsoring a sports car for 12, 13 seasons now, and so I got involved, and so it became a natural to me. But that we used to have in the paddock Freedom Motorsports, which was a Mazda team. Mm-hmm. They were associated with the Marine Corps, and they had on their transporter the names of Marines who had given the final, the ultimate sacrifice that had passed on. I have a fraternity brother from UCLA who's lost his son in Afghanistan, and sure enough, there was his name on the side of the car. And I just, it wasn't an aha moment yet, but when Mimi became ill and I thought, what can I do? All of a sudden I go, this is a wonderful idea, but let's go better. Let's go on the side of the car, not on the transporter. Let's just go right on the car. And it reminds me of the first time I saw the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. Something as powerful as just a name, knowing that there's a bigger story about that name and the family that's associated with that name. That was sort of what inspired me.
Well, it's honestly, it is incredibly moving listening to you talk about all the efforts that have gone into it and all the people that it is effective. What do you see in the future for the organization?
Well, we've done some other stuff along the way. We're actually looking at equestrian events, and we're talking to an Olympian who will be coming back from Paris about maybe participating with her. She's a former race car driver as well.
Yeah.
And so her name is Elizabeth Halliday Sharp. And so she was competing in the equestrian events in Paris. So we're going to work with her. We're going to take it to the horse community next. We ran a golf tournament associated with the LPGA in Palos Verdes 2 years ago, and it was a big opportunity to raise a lot of money in a short window of time. It's a little harder running around the country with race cars and doing it, but yes, we're for our idea of racing to end Alzheimer's, it's about racing, but it's also the urgency to end Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like a double edge of the term racing. We are racing, but we're also in a hurry to get the results here.
Yeah,
as it relates
absolutely.
to this disease.
I don't suppose they're going to be painting names on the side of the horse, though.
No, yeah, I asked, and they said that's probably not going to happen, Phil. But we're going to figure out other ways to do it. And I've always said that this could be at Fenway Park, the Green Monster. I mean, if they painted it purple and put the names of people in New England, what a wonderful tribute. And it doesn't mean that you have to be a baseball fan to want to see your wife's name or your grandfather's name up there. So, it can be, we're looking for ways to expand it. It doesn't have to be only in racing, but we like racing a lot.
Well, very quickly before it looks like the restart is imminent, if you could let folks who are watching know how they can get involved if they are interested.
Sure. So our website, the URL is the letter R, the number 2, endalz.org. So if you go there, you'll find that. If you want to go to social media, just look up Racing to End Alzheimer's and you'll find us.
Fantastic, Phil. Thank you so much for taking the time to come up and share your wonderful message. We wish you the best of luck in that race to end Alzheimer's, but also the race that's about to restart here at Road America, Joe.
Absolutely, and already on the loud pedal, Thomas is trying to see if he can get away from Bocuse with Janson running in third still. Freiberg also watching on. Let's not forget about what happened at Watkins Glen. We've got all three of those drivers here in the top 4, but Paul looking strong coming off of turn 1. He's making sure that Thomas doesn't run away.
Yeah, qualified within a tenth of Jared Thomas earlier today. Jared did say that the timing of a red flag in that qualifying session really cost him his ultimate lap pace that he thought he might have been able to exhibit, but maybe it's the same for Paul because he is right there drawing a bead on the race leader, Jared Thomas.
As they come down into turn 5, we see Paul make a little poke to the inside, but nothing doing right now as Jared leads him through the left-hander, and the rest of them follow in behind. Looks like perhaps Therese is going to maybe attempt to move, but not quite close enough for it. Actually, no, she is. She is going to get down to the inside. I think that was ahead of Musil 2.0, who loses 2 spots.
Yeah, fantastic pass there from Therese Lalu, who's just getting more and more confident as the season goes along. Comes from the West Coast side of the Sprint Challenge family, running the North America Championship for the first time. She did say she had a track day under her belt here at Road America several years ago, and that's helped her progress a little bit quicker instead of some of these other tracks she's gone to for the first time this year.
Indeed. That's one of the things definitely that she's had to go up against, is experiencing new circuits and trying to learn them as quickly as she can. But she's obviously very much on the forward foot, making moves to try and get positions here. Now, I wouldn't say early in the race, but early in the green flag running, at least, that we've had, because we're down to 16 minutes left to go. So we've already lost roughly half of this event.
Yeah, it's a shame to have lost that, but it looks like we've got a sprint to the finish here, and it's a tightly contested field with Thomas showing the way. Bocuse has dropped back a little bit, and Janson is now starting to look a bit more threatening in his first weekend of single-make Porsche racing. That's the orange machine that just zipped across the start-finish line. Then it's Freiberg, and then the battle for the lead in the Masters with Atwater and Blend holding 5th and 6th overall.
Coming back through turn 1 once again. This time, Thomas holding himself a few more car lengths away from Bocuse, so sitting a little bit prettier, no doubt. Thomas wanting to come back and take yet another victory. He is easily the most winningest driver so far this season. Looking like he's likely to come away with the championship, but nothing is guaranteed, especially with how quickly we saw it can all unravel back in New York.
That's for sure, and every one of these teams is feeling the effects of that. We talked a little bit earlier today about Ashley Freiberg suffering a concussion in that crash, and it took her a little while by her own admission to get comfortable back in the car in testing on Thursday. She's clearly back up to speed right now, running a strong fourth. But Jared Thomas, who's out in front, he told me this is a backup chassis. The chassis involved in that crash was a total write-off. So they're still getting to grips with this new chassis, and right now he's doing it with aplomb, running in the lead as the 227 is off track in turn 5.
Yeah, so it looks like they'll be able to pull it out of the way, so we won't get any sort of another stoppage here.
Joel Johnson, the car that went off track, third in points coming into the weekend in the Masters class, a 3-time winner in class this season. So that has championship implications as we get down to the nitty-gritty here in this 2024 campaign. 4 races still to run, including this one, so not much time left to make an impact in the championship.
You talked about drivers feeling the effects of that wreck. Thomas, not so much physically, but definitely they had to get a different car out there because the last one was totaled. So if you're kind of wondering what happened to the Stars and Stripes, that's why Thomas is in a different paint scheme. About the only one that got away without too much of an effect was Bocuse. His car was okay, but as you talked about earlier, as we got another caution. Trying to see if we can figure out, this is something out of the kink, it looks like, as we got a car stop there. So we'll try and find out who that was. But to finish my point is, as you said earlier, Paul is had his first non-podium finish because of that accident. So that definitely hurt his consistency that he prides himself in.
That was the key to his championship a year ago in the Caymans, his first year racing in cars, making the step up to the Cup cars this year. And doing a nice job currently keeping the points leader, Jared Thomas, honest. We got a car facing the wrong way at the exit of the kink, and I just can't quite get a number. Looks like 268.
Yeah, I think that's right. And that's Ammon.
Okay.
So
Daniel had a fraught morning, I think, in his Cayman as well, unfortunately.
He's trying to get the car turned around, and I did see it creeping around, so it has power. Maybe it's just not in the best shape to try and limp home, as now it's being joined by the service truck, and he's still trying.
Well, we talked about this earlier. You don't usually get away with one in the kink, and if he's driving away, then he could be thanking his lucky stars. It looks like Daniel Ammon has more or less gotten away with one, and that should make for a quick cleanup. Although, did that look, well, the number said it was Ammon, so I'm not going to second guess it. And if somebody finds out otherwise, we'll make the adjustment.
That was Ammon's paint scheme. Yeah. He has two. Remember, he has 2 different paint schemes between the series, so it's easy to get confused on that one. Lights are out on the pace car. So thankfully, this is a very short full course caution that we'll experience here. But what a stop-start event it has been for our Cup Series cars. They're eager to get some action going. Atwater currently our leader in the Masters class with Blend chasing him. But Scott knows that Peter's not competing in that championship, so this second place is still good for him. Kyle Washington rounding out the podium on that one. Dimitri in the 199 Honey Badger Motorsports 991 car, leading by many cars. He's currently 13th overall, and Meissner's only managed to get himself to 22nd. So it's still proving frustrating for Niels to try and get back up there and take that lead away in class.
Yeah, definitely a difficulty there. Doesn't have to worry about Dimitri Domekos as far as the championship is concerned. He's got to concern himself with Tony Melito, who's right behind him. There you see 22nd and 23rd overall. That's second and third in that class. And those two have seemingly been locked together from a championship perspective all year long. But it is interesting that in both the Masters as well as in 991, you've got drivers that are running partial schedules out in front and upending what we're used to seeing, the traditional running order of the season to this point.
Yeah, it could harm their championship hopes. It could maybe just be a minor setback. We'll have to watch and see how it all winds up once we get to race number 2 at Sonoma. For now, we've still got this one plus 3 more races to go to try and decide those points. That's still a lot of points on the table available to the drivers. We come up towards the final turn to get ready to restart once again. They've already been through this restart once. Let's see what it looks like this time. And once again, Jared is able to keep himself away from Bocuse.
Battle is for third. Johnson coming under a ton of pressure. Ashley Freiberg looking as threatening as she has at any point in this race so far. Johnson guards the inside. Freiberg will roll the outside. Washington in a battle as well with Therese Lalu. That was not for class position, but just inside the top 10 overall. We'll wait and see how those two battles sorted themselves out.
My goodness, that was a big chop coming down into turn 1. A car actually kicking up dust on the inside of that corner. Not something you see as often without it going awry. As things settle back in a single file through the top 4. Ashley's still close. This is going to be a big dive if she can manage to attack into 5. And in fact, covering it off, Janson is immediately going to take the middle.
Now, Johnson really impressive, I think, considering he's so inexperienced in these cars. That's Rob Walker going side by side a little bit further back. Not sure who he was side by side with. Oh, this is getting really feisty here. Everyone knows time is starting to run out.
Musil 2.0, again losing multiple positions. In fact, I'm wondering if he got a little bit of rubber and gunk on the car because he seemed way off pace there for a brief moment, but now is back up to speed. We get another one taking a look down to the inside into turn 8. They carry on side by side into the carousel.
Wow, great battles there. Hard to keep it side by side through the carousel. We'll wait and see what that looks like when they emerge, and indeed they do get single file. Thomas continues to lead over Bocuse. Janson and Freiberg continue their battle for third and fourth, the final step of the podium. Atwater, though, showing the way in the Masters class. Scott Blend, winner of the last 2 races, though, right there in tow, looking threatening here in the run to Canada corner.
And only 8 minutes left on the clock. The green flag racing has been cut significantly into on this one. Hence, that has given us such a close field all throughout, which means if we can manage to stay green, there is still so much up for grabs, especially for those farther down in the field trying to make up for a lack of qualifying time. Still, it is a decent and healthy gap for Jared Thomas over Paul Bocuse, this time across the line, 0.6 of a second.
It is a 14-turn, 4-mile lap around Road America. To your point, Joe, a lot can happen in a single lap around this place, and it probably will, based on the way the weekend is played out. Thomas, Bocuse, Johnson, 1, 2, and 3. Freiberg starting to drop back a little bit. Then we get to that battle for the lead in Masters, which is looking awfully spicy at the moment, with Atwater holding down the spot, but only by 0.6 of a second at the line over Scott Blend.
How much does Blend want to try and fight? We saw this dynamic before in the USA West Series with the eventual winner putting some of that risk aside and saying, I'm going to go for it. As we see a little bit of an over-under. Washington, I think, maybe trying to see if he can get that one back, but no dice up under the Corvette bridge.
Yeah, Jens Hansen made that pass, and it was a nice one, up a spot to 9th overall. That brings him now to the back of Therese Lalu, who currently holds the 8th spot overall and is the next car in class for Jens, who is not running a full season. In fact, this might be the season debut. In fact, it is for Jens Hansen, driving for the Speed Sport tuning operation based out of Danbury, Connecticut.
Ooh, that's getting to be a rather large gap now between P1 and P2. It's seeming like Thomas is able to pick up the pace. The good thing for him on this lack of green flag racing is he no longer has to worry about those tires. He only needs them for just a handful of laps, and he is using them to their utmost.
Yeah, no question. I don't think there's any conservation going on in this race due to the fact that we lost about half of it to yellow flag safety car periods. So Jared Thomas He's the leader. He's turning in fastest lap after fastest lap. The last time by at a 2:09.5, 4/10 clear of second place Paul Bocuse. And then you get to Aaron Janson, who's only a couple tenths off of Bocuse's time, and looks like he's getting quicker as he learns this platform, learns this car just that little bit more. Former Team USA scholarship recipient to go race over in the UK in the form of the Ford Festival and the Walter Hayes Trophy. A really talented youngster from Louisiana taking to this Porsche single make racing very, very well.
100%. In fact, he's gone from having to defend on Ashley to now it looks like he's starting to focus on trying to attack Paul. In fact, look at that right there. Only about 2 car lengths behind Bocuse. And closing at times. It was a good exit for Paul coming down the Moraine sweep, so that's going to keep him out of range at least this time coming into the braking for turn 5, but he's going to have to be right on the money.
Yeah, that's for sure. They ran nearly identical lap times the last time by, just 500th separating those two. The black car is Bocuse, the orange machine, that is Janson. Freiberg just has not been able to hang with this duo. She ran a 2:10.4. They're running 2:09.6s, and Jared Thomas is in his own zip code. He just ran a 2:09 flat the last time by, resetting the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, he's stretching his legs out now. It seems like there's going to be little to stop him except himself at this stage. Watching on board from Ashley Freiberg, really to give you a sense of the distance she's lost up to the battle for P2 there. The 222 car heading through the carousel, trying to chase them down through the low parts of this circuit. And thankfully, we've been staying green since this last one. We're down to only 4 minutes left to go now.
Someone ran wide in the kink just before this camera shot, and it looks like it was just a bunch of dust kicked up. Everyone continuing through at unabated speed, so that's good news. But it's all happening well behind the race leader, Jared Thomas. The fight is on for second with Janson and Bocuse. Atwater and Blend, that continues to be a good duel. Those are the 2 primarily yellow cars that came through the shot a moment ago.
Also, we had a bit of a battle down at Acana Corner between Geis, Lalou, and Hansen. Looks like we'll check here as they cross the line, actually, to see if they stayed in order or not. And it does look like, yes, they are still as is, but they certainly got side by side into that right-hander.
3 laps to go. Remember, it's 35 minutes plus 1 lap, so the clock needs to be at 0 for the white flag to come out. Plenty of time still to make up a position or two. Too much time, maybe, if you're stuck playing defense right now.
Yeah, certainly is. And cutting back, oh, that was a great move from Hansen. He's going to have her on the back foot. Does she keep to that inside? She's kind of hovering in the middle of the track, forcing him to try and pick a compromised line. Now they come down towards the braking of turn 5, and she again will fend him off, at least for the time being. Could get a chance to try and cut back underneath. He does get a good run. Therese, again, just forcing him to try and have to take an awkward run into the corner. Will keep him at bay.
Gran Turismo, as it proclaims on that car. She has taken really well to these North America circuits over on the East Coast after primarily running on the West Coast in the past several years. Goes wide, though, there at the bottom of the hill at the end of hurry downs. Unfortunately, though, for Hansen, he wasn't close enough to take advantage. Lalou able to consolidate that position, holding steady there in 8th overall.
I'm a little sad that we've got all this cloud cover right now because for Hansen, if you get a chance to see that car in the light, it's not just this sort of plain dark-colored car. It's a beautiful metallic color that is stunning in the light glancing off of it. Honestly, it's become one of my favorites here, so hopefully we'll be able to really show that with the cameras at some point. For the time being, he doesn't care if it's pretty, he cares if it's fast.
Well, typically a good-looking car is fast, or maybe it's because it's fast that it looks good. Chicken and the egg, who knows which one comes first, but nevertheless, it's a good battle there, just outside the podium positions within that Pro-Am class.
Oh, man, Thomas now up to 2.3 seconds ahead. Penultimate lap here for these drivers. He'll get the white flag next time by. And still Bocuse has been unable to shake Aaron in that 250 orange machine off of his tail. He remains glued to one of our championship contenders.
Yeah, you're right. Boku's fighting on as hard as he can. He's looking at yet another podium finish. He's finished on the podium in all but one race so far this season, but second place would be a lot better than third for Jean-Son. Have to say, this has been a really impressive debut coming over to this championship for the first time. He's running a full schedule in MX5 Cup this year for the JTR Motorsports engineering team, which of course is the team he's driving for here, and team boss Jared Thomas, he's the one out in front.
Yeah, and oh wow, another good run off of turn 5, and Lalu knows it. She covers off immediately, not wanting to get the blocking warning we've seen a couple drivers get up into turn 6. You cannot react to the driver behind you, have to be preemptive to cover them off. So far, I haven't seen any messages about that for her on our race control messages, but she's really soaking up the pressure. Hansen has been giving her no relief.
No respite whatsoever, and the battle behind them is also a good one. That's Kyle Washington, 10th overall, 3rd at the moment in the Masters class, and he's got Rob Walker right in tow. That has been a good scrap for the last couple of laps. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. Good battles pretty much everywhere you look behind Jared Thomas. He's all out by himself at the front of this field.
Making it no fun for us on that battle for the win, but I mean, he's kind of been doing that a lot this season. He's hard to catch, but that's why he's leading the championship in such a dominant fashion. He's earned that one. Meanwhile, still seeing a few cars poking and prodding down towards the back end of the field, but only one to go for the 296 as he crosses the line yet again.
4 more miles through the Wisconsin countryside, separating Jared Thomas from yet another race win. He roars through turn number 1, takes the right side down to the rumble strips, then lets it run wide on corner exit through the little kink that is known as turn 2. It's hardly a turn at all. Turn number 3, though, downhill braking zone. He masters it yet again. Jared Thomas continuing to stretch that advantage as Hansen and Laulu, they continue their scrap in turn number 1.
They had to use a lot of that runoff there to try and keep that one from becoming a wreck, so I'm sure he's grateful for that modern little addition to this track. We'll see where they sit once they get down to turn 5 and if he can recoup and go back on the attack, because he's lacking opportunities since this is the last one.
Yeah, for sure, for Hansen to try and make that pass. Time starting to run out, the sand slipping through the proverbial hourglass. Same can be said for Scott Blend, who does not seem to have the pace now of Peter Atwater. Atwater consolidating that advantage. It's up to 0.8 of a second, which in the context of that battle seems gargantuan. They have been so close together over the course of this race. But at the moment, it's all about Jared Thomas. Atwater in the lead in that Masters class, and Dimitri Demekos relatively unchallenged as well in the 991 class. He sits 12th overall, and right behind him, Mark Kwame, making his season debut, has had a nice charge through the field. He's just outside the top 10 overall.
72-point lead coming into this weekend for Thomas. Make that 73 with the pole position that he took. And it's looking like it's going to extend just a few more points the way things are standing currently as they come up through Bill Mitchell Bend for the final time. All he has to do is correctly send the car through the final turn. And Jared Thomas, who didn't seem too pleased about what had happened at Watkins Glen, is going to bounce back, and in a big way, a dominant win despite what little green flag running we've had for Jared Thomas. Behind him, Atwater coming to the line ahead of Blend. We didn't see much of a battle between them, and it looks like indeed he will finish ahead by about a second or so ahead of Scott. Waiting for our leader in the 991s, Dimitri, to finish, and there he is. The 199 takes victory in the 991 class.
Wow, fantastic drive there. Some really good performances all throughout this field for Jared Thomas. That is win number 9 on the season. Remarkable for a driver, again, who comes in with a great pedigree in single-make racing, but had very little Porsche experience, just a one-off at Indianapolis last year prior to this season. But my goodness, he has been a revelation in this championship and looks to be just about a lock with 3 races yet to go, despite the best efforts of Paul Bocuse, who does come home with another podium. Scott Blend, I think all in all, will be pretty happy with that second place. That's big for him and his championship pursuit. And let's look a little bit further down in the 991s and figure out who ended up second and third. Those 2 championship contenders, Meissner and Melito. It was Niels that had the advantage over Tony by less than 0.3 of a second at the line.
Yeah, that's a tight one. Niels needed that because he was only 19 points ahead coming in here. And that will do him no harm, considering how far apart some of the other points battles are. Those 19 points seem a little bit iffy for him, and he's going to have to continue to fight to try and hold on to that points lead to the end. So a checkered flag for a last race of the day, Ryan, but we've got more coming tomorrow.
We do. It's a busy day with Porsche Sprint Challenge North America, the Caymans, as well as the Cup cars. We'll also see USA West in action. Plus, at the end of the day, to close out the weekend, the second race in the history of the Porsche Endurance Challenge Series, a 1-hour finale for the day, which we'll see in most cases a 2-driver lineup for that 1-hour driver change, pit stop, and everything. It will be continued with the next round of that championship at Sonoma, and will conclude in November with a 6-hour race at Circuit of the Americas, which we're all really excited for, expecting a massive grid for that and some big names to take part in that as well. So a lot of fun in store yet this season, and a lot of fun still to come tomorrow as we look ahead to Sunday here at Road America. Well, we've dispatched Joe Peak down to the podium area, and if our technical capacity will allow it, we will do our best to bring you podium festivities from Road America Race 1. We're getting the thumbs up, so it should be coming your way in just a couple of minutes.
It's really hometown pride, it's some apple pie, it's a miracle. And with an open mind, we can live our lives in America. Damn, I love America. If you stick it to your guns, fired up, kick it and get the chopper right up in America. It ain't too many living like us. If you with me, let me see you light up. It's America. From the countryside to the Broadway lights, it's America. Damn, I love America. Sipping cold Coors Light on a Sunday night, it's America.
Reigning race car is in position in victory lane at Road America, so it's time to celebrate our podium finishers with Joe Peak.
All right, it's time for our Porsche Sprint Challenge North America GT3 Cup Podium ceremonies. We're going to start things off with a 991 class. Finishing in third in the number 127, it's Tony Melito. Coming home P2, driving the number 152 machine, Niels Meissner. Then our winner today, coming in after a brief absence in the number 199, Dmitry Demikos. Dimitri, well done. Fantastic drive out there. We've seen a number of drivers manage to pull significant gaps over everybody else, but we haven't seen that from you yet this season. Does that make you feel pretty proud?
Oh, it's a great feeling. We only did a one-off race this season, but thanks to Porsche Exchange and Goldcrest Motorsports, we were able to put out a good showing today and looking forward to tomorrow.
Talking about tomorrow, what are your expectations? Do you think you can run away as easily, or is it going to be a little bit more difficult with everybody kind of getting a feel for the track?
The plan is obviously to come home with another win. That's what we hope for. But as far as it being easy, it's never going to be easy. We got to put in our work and just hope for the best.
Well, the best happened today. You took home the win.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That is our victor, Dmitry Demikos. I know it's gotten a little chilly, but we still got to spray some champagne. Congratulations to our 991 podium finishers. This now takes us to our 992 Masters category. Starting off with our P3 finisher, driving the number 234, it's Kyle Washington. Two podiums for him today. Finishing in second, driving the number 254, Scott Bland. And similar to our 991s, a driver coming in and stealing the victory from the regulars. It's the 261 of Peter Atwater. Congratulations, Peter. It looked like you were kind of in the thick of a lot of the pro-ams out there. Were you worried about them at all?
No, I know most of them, and they're faster than me. So I was just trying to get like braking points from them and turn in. Ashley, thank you. Turn in on 3 is amazing. I was just following that. But yeah, they're friends of mine, and they're fun to watch. So I did a lot of watching there. So.
Well, I mean, it's always fun when you're out there winning. Can you repeat that tomorrow, or you think Kyle and the guys are gonna try and give you a run for your money?
I think Scott is he's sitting on pole, and he was right on me the whole time, and. Yeah, I got a lot of work to do to try to get near this podium now. We got a lot of good people in my class, and they all can drive on any given day. So.
All right. Well done today. Congratulations to our winner, Peter Atwater. And let's have the traditional spraying of the champagne. A big congratulations to our 992 Masters Podium finishers. Coming around now to our 992 Pro-Am Podium finishers. Coming home third in the number 250, it's Aaron Johnson. Finishing P2 today, driving the number 271, Paul Bocuse. And taking an astonishing 9th win on the season, driving the 296, it's Jared Thomas. Jared, excellent and impressive run. We were talking about how we had all that yellow flag running out there, and by the end it looked like you were trying to sprint away. I have to imagine that really took away any thoughts of having to conserve those tires.
Yeah, no, it was full go every time because with these guys you can't give them you can't even give them an inch when it comes to restarts because they'll be right there on you. So it was full bore every time.
Well, it really showed the gap that you managed to pull in what little green flag racing we have. Certainly impressive. Do you consider yourself using that tool of trying to almost demoralize your opponents with the gaps that you're able to pull sometimes?
No, I think it's just part of racing. I know these guys. It's so tough to follow really close. So I use that to my advantage. And Aaron was here breathing down Paul's neck, which made him have to be a little defensive and allowed me to get a little gap. So, yeah.
Well, best of luck later this weekend. More races to go, and congratulations.
Thank you.
That was our winner, Jared Thomas.
The final or the parties tonight at 5:45. So right now. 5:45. Yeah, so right now. Risk it.
And, of course, for the last time this evening, let's spray some champagne! Wonderful job by our podium finishers in the 992 Pro-Am. Also, don't forget, for those of you here at the track, we have our dinner tonight. Brisket is on the menu. That'll be at 5:45, so just in a few moments' time. But again, don't forget we have more racing coming tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., so get up nice, bright, and early for more to come here in the Porsche Sprint Challenge.